Kendra.
You gotta let the past go. Let the past be the past. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you,
Nice
Kendra.
to meet you.
How do I let the past go when you haven't even owned up to anything?
I have owned up to a lot of it.
You haven't.
I have for 3 years.
No.
I've changed everything
You
I
never
possibly
came
can
to
for
my
you.
face and told me you were sorry.
Manny, I've told you I'm sorry a million times. I don't know how
No.
many more times I can tell you I'm sorry. So I'm
No.
blue in the face?
Mom, you have chose your boyfriends over us for years. You left when I was 12 and you chose a man over your family.
No, I left because my children were very, very, very judgmental. They were very bad. They were robbing houses. They were skipping school. I was getting charged with truancy. Going to do 6 months in jail. All of that. Madison
That
broke my
gives
hand
you
in
no
five
right to
spots.
leave your children.
It doesn't, but stuff happens, and I'm sorry. I can't tell you how much I am so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You're not sorry if you still let it happen. You still choose men. Like, I don't understand.
Madison, I would choose you any
No,
day
you don't.
over
No, you
anybody.
don't. You never
I do.
have. You never have.
So can I go back to this? Why did you leave at 12? I understand you saying that the kids had discipline problems, but what was the reason behind that?
Well, there was reasons behind it, I guess, because my husband, their father wasn't helping me. I was like a single mother, but in a two-parent family home.
Okay.
I worked.
Then you leave him. You don't leave your children.
Right. I wish I had done that now, but I didn't do that then.
And where were you when you were gone for those 3 years?
I met a man. I'm not going to lie. I met a man, and I'm sorry for it. I got on drugs. I was getting brutally beaten. My children knew this. I had been to the hospital numerous of times.
That's your fault. You chose to leave.
And why did you come back?
Because for my children. I love my children.
So I'm having one of those deep conversations with my boyfriend, and he tells me that I'm sensitive. And I got really upset because I'm like, how am I sensitive? I barely talk about my grandmother and the things that I've gone through with her. You know, how am I sensitive? And he was like, you're sensitive because you don't bring up the things that mean the most to you. You hide from your own emotions. And I was like, wow, like he has a point. He's right. I do hide from my own emotions. I don't deal with the things that hurt me the most. And when that conversation does come up, it makes me sensitive, you know. So that's why I don't bring up conversations. And the reason why I talk about my grandmother a lot is because she was my primary caretaker. My mom is still living in Jamaica. So all those years, you know, the man that she was married to, he would always go talk to her about us, like, oh, we left a fork in the sink, right? He would get upset and be like, oh, the house is nasty and this and that over a fork. And like, we used to get woken up out of our bed over a fork. You guys, there'd be times like he would like hide the remotes. He would take the cable out the TV so we couldn't watch TV. I was doing track. He was saying like I was going off with boys when I was really doing track. Like he would, you know, tell my grandmother all of these things about us that weren't true. And, you know, he really, I don't know, I really feel like he tried to create tension in the house. And he did create tension in the house. He was successful doing that, you know. And me and my grandmother was having like a heart-to-heart the other day. And she was just like, you know, he really tried to like separate us and like, you know, create tension in the house. And he did create tension in the house. And she was just realizing that after all of these years. And it just made me upset because it's like, you chose this man over us simply, you know, chose him over yourself too, because he disrespected you too by cheating on you, not showing you love, not caring for you. Simply, you chose him over us and yourself because he paid the bills. Simply because he helped you with the mortgage. Simply so you can say that you have a man. she didn't love herself. When you really think about it, so how could she really love us, you know? So then back to the conversation with my boyfriend, he's telling me, listen, like, the person who really betrayed you is not really your grandmother, it's your mom. She's the root of all of this. And I'm going to tell you why she's the root of all of this. My mom brought me and my sister in a poverty situation. We all know the state of Jamaica for people who don't have a lot of money, right? Especially back in the day. Now Jamaica is this tourist attraction, but a couple years ago, you know, Jamaica wasn't that popular as it is now. You know, of course it was known, but it wasn't as popular as now. So I remember going door to door with my mom, begging people for food or money for anything that they had. We would be in odd places living. You know, there was a time when we was living like, it was weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, down a hill, and I had to walk up this hill with all this bush and stuff like that just to get to a store to get some food. It was just weird living situations. You know, we lived in filthy conditions. There were times where I was literally chained to a bed. Like, we were chained, you know. I remember getting punched in my stomach. Like, there was just, like, she would say, oh, you look like a drunko. So that's like a curse, you know, terminology in Jamaica. So it's just nasty things, like, when I look back. But we haven't even gotten to the most hurtful part. The most hurtful part is fast forward when we, you know, came to America. You know, as I think about it, when our dad bringing us up here was like the best case for us in hindsight. You know, it gave us more opportunities. Like, even if I struggle in America, struggling in America is completely different in suffering in a third world country. You know what I'm saying? So I'm super grateful, you know, for that. But I feel like my mom, she didn't use that opportunity to make herself a better woman for us. She didn't use that opportunity to work on herself as a woman so she can be in a position to take care of us, or just to be a mother to show love to us, you know. Instead, what I found out a couple of years ago, this is like when I was like maybe like preteens or whatever, right? I found out from my great-grand that, hey, you know, she has a kid. And I'm like, what? She has a kid? She had another kid? What do you mean? Like, couldn't believe it. So then I remember fast forward, I had a conversation. This is years ago. But I had a conversation with my mom after having a conversation with my great-grand, you know, confronting her like, hey, you have a kid or blah, blah, blah. She completely denied it. She lied. Then there was a time when we went to Jamaica, me and my sister, and we was at our godmother's house. This woman, my godmother was literally a godsend. She was a godly woman. We did prayers in the morning. We went to Bible school, Sunday school. We had devotions, you know, she really, like, during those times, like, you know, even in Jamaica, you know, it's the stories all over the place, but she was a light in the darkness for us in Jamaica. So she was someone we always saw when we went back to Jamaica. But my mom came to the house, you know, because we were residing with my godmother while we were in Jamaica, you know, for our little vacation. My mom came to the gate, you know, so imagine like there's trees, there's a mango tree outside, there's like a garage with grills, you can see right outside, you can look at the gate, you know, trees and everything. And I go outside and I see a baby beside her, like a little toddler. I didn't think much of it. Like, it didn't click to me that this woman had a kid. It didn't even click to me at the time she had a newborn baby in her hand. I was just looking at my mom. My mom comes in, I don't know, for whatever reason, I was in another room, and then I hear crying, like a baby crying, and there was a baby in the other room, and it was her baby. So she had a toddler, you guys, and she had a baby. And I felt abandoned. I felt betrayed because the way I see it is you cheated on us. That's how I see it. Like you dealt with other men, two other men, and you had kids by these men. Instead of using this time to work on yourself so you can be better for us, you chose yourself. You chose to be selfish. You chose lust. And you even chose men that couldn't even put you in a position to win. You didn't even choose men that could put you in a position to win. You weren't logical and at some point I feel like I have to give her the hammer. I can't keep blaming everything on my grandmother because at the end of the day, it wasn't her responsibility to take care of us. This was a responsibility that was dropped in her lap and she just accepted it. For whatever reason, I don't know. But she accepted us and she took care of us, And I blame my grandmother for not showing us love, not doing this. But this woman was a patient escort. Like she's working overtime. She's stressed out constantly, and she doesn't have time to show love. She was never shown love to begin with, right? The person who I should really have beef with is my mom. Because at the end of the day, a woman, she chooses who she lets inside of her body, and she chooses who she conceives for, and she chooses the time she conceives, and she chooses the situation she uses to conceive. So not only you conceived us, you brought us into this world not having your own, not making sure you could take care of us. But then you went back and you slept with two other men and brought in two more humans in this world that you can't take care of. I haven't spoken to my mom in years. I have no idea how she's doing, how my half-siblings are doing. It's just situation, it's just a broken family, the typical Black broken family. But to conclude, my whole point is a woman can betray her family in so many different ways. And I've been betrayed by my mom. My dad was mentally ill, so I give him a pass. But my mom, person who I should really have beef for, is my mom. It's not my grandmother. My grandmother did the best that she could with what she had. And it really wasn't her responsibility, But the only thing I could say, positives, lessons I got from this situation is I got to stop blaming people. I got to stop blaming my mom. She is to blame, but once you're over the age of 18, you now have to take care of your healing. And now my healing is my responsibility. And in order for me to move on into this new chapter of my life, I have to let go of her. I have to move on. I have to make peace with the situation. I have to understand it. That doesn't mean that I kiss their asses. But what it does mean is that I have to let it go. I don't want to hold on to any more anger, resentment, fear. I'm tired of holding on to these things because it brings me no good. It hardens my heart. It makes me not trust people. I don't trust people like that. I feel like, trust is built, but it has formed some really bad ideologies of the world. And it also made me look for love in the wrong places in the past. But through all that, I've learned that my healing is my responsibility. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to the gym. I talk to my ancestors. I go outside more. Like even going to the supermarket for me, going outside at all is really like a big achievement for me because I was extremely sheltered as a child. I grew up being very fearful of the world because my mom never let me in the house. I never had like the opportunity to play with other kids and socialize. in hindsight, to her, she was protecting me. But in a way, it's like you got to figure out life, everything. You got to unlearn all of these things. And so, yeah, I'm just figuring out life. I'm letting go of the past. This was really like a therapy session. Hopefully it was therapeutic for you and you were able to see through some things that's going on in your life and put two and two together. So if you made it this far, subscribe and like. Today was just really like a little therapy sesh, making a connection to the video that you just saw previously. So a little story time, little example, that's all. But yeah.